Simply Ming is brought to you by Ocean Spray, Wanjia, T-Fall, Subaru of New England, and Melissa's World Variety Produce. Working with chilled butter when making pastry. This is key, guys. Sometimes at Blue Ginger, we even put the butter in the freezer to make sure it's extra cold. Why is that so key? The idea of making pastries, you want to keep small pieces of butter. So if the butter is already soft, if you start making your dough, it's going to flatten out, you won't have any pieces. So that's why you need it chilled. So I'm going to make just a normal short crust, which is just flour. I usually start with a cup. I'm going to use about a stick of butter. All right, so I'm going to cut it into little pieces like this, and then I'm going to end up working it into this dough. A lot of chefs use ice water and an egg yolk. I'm instead going to use actually a little bit of heavy cream, which actually makes it even a little bit more tender. Because the idea of making a pastry dough is you want tenderness in the crust. All right, so I got cut up butter here. So a stick. You can go a little bit more than a stick if you want. You don't really need much milk or cream. So what's that? That's like 2 to 3 tablespoons, right? And here you really want to just chop the butter in with the flour, all right? And just mix it, all right? And the idea again is if I used a mixer like a standing mixer, you can do that and pulse it. But what you don't want to do is over pulse it and then all the butter disappears. So all I'm trying to do is make it so it can come together in one ball. You might need a little bit more cream because I added about, what, that was 2 tablespoons. You might need a little bit more. So this is almost coming together for me. And it's, again, it's so key. This also applies to savory, by the way. In other words, if you're doing mousses, you also want to keep things, so look, so this is starting to come together, and that's all you really need. You just need it to come together just so you have to chill it and let it rest, and eventually it will roll out and be so flaky. So you might think it's a little dry, but that's what I want. I want it just to be able to hold its shape. Take up all the flour. Now this, you actually want it to let it rest, all right? And when you roll it out, you'll see there'll be streaks of butter in this. I like to put it in the fridge, just in a little plastic wrap, like this, a nice ball. And this is good to go. It will make you a beautiful tart shell. You can add spices to it. You can make it savory, but it's also delicious sweet. Another quick thing, streusel, also chilled butter. A little bit of nuts. Again, I use ratio, so it's like 3 parts of any type of nuts. I'm going to do about 2 parts of oats, about 1 part of brown sugar, just a little bit, like that, and maybe just a touch of flour. And then to this, we're going to cut in butter. And this I'll probably cut in about a little bit more than half a stick of butter. You can use as much as you want for this one. And here, you just cut this in. Again, keep the butter in pieces. Using your hands, but you don't want to use too much of your hands. Why? Your hands are warm. Warm hands will melt the butter, all right? So mix this up. And here we have some apples. These are just apples that have been tossed with 5 spice. A little lemon juice so they don't turn color on you. Take these and just pop a little bit of streusel on this, like that. With pieces of the butter is fantastic. The butter is going to melt. We'll keep this nice and tender. And check out what this looks once you go in the oven. Just on a broil here. Get a nice crusty crust. Look how good that looks. Remember, keep your butter chilled. Simply Ming has been brought to you by Ocean Spray, T-Fall, Subaru of New England, Melissa's World Variety Produce, and Wanjia. Watch Simply Ming on your public television station.